try and succeed.
This is all after I recalled.
It's called the dark web.
One can track you. Sell about drugs, illegal IDs, even assassination for hire. Hey, yeah, the dark net is mostly about the bag.
God's computer?
I didn't steal it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's messed up.
Well, I could potentially serve the dark web.
In 1969, a couple of university students sent the world's first computer-to-computer message. It was sent on ARPANET, an early ancestor to the internet. The concept of connecting computers together was a radical idea at the time, and it set in motion the progression to the modern internet. But ever since there has been the internet, or any form of internet, people have used it for illegal online activity. In fact, one of the first ever e-commerce transactions was a drug deal in 1970. It was done between two students at MIT and Stanford. In the 1980s, people also attempted to create data havens in small countries with relaxed laws. These early examples were nowhere near as sophisticated as the modern dark web. However, they illustrate the point that there have always been people who wanted to use the web to escape the eyes of the authorities, or everyone's eyes for that matter. In the mid-1990s, things started to get interesting. A technology called Tor was created.
View 101 on the dark web. Sources differ on how much of the internet can be seen using a standard browser. In a story, NPR told us that 96% of the internet is not available through normal browsers. Call it the iceberg theory, which means the internet we see is just the tip. Other resources tell us it's more like 90%, which is still huge. So what exactly are we not seeing? First of all, we should understand the difference between the deep web and darknet sites. The deep web might not be quite as degenerate as the dark web. The deep web is simply part of the web that can't be accessed through conventional browsers. One expert tells us despite many representations of a nefarious underground operating out of sight, the deep web is mostly benign private databases and web resources not meant to be accessed by the general public. Lots of data online isn't available to our prying eyes. Companies or banks have private databases, or some websites might not want to be indexed. They want to remain unsearchable. It's not really that surprising that most of the information flowing around the internet is protected. But then we have the dark web, and that's a totally different thing. This is a place where one wants absolute anonymity. Not to say people don't get found, they do. As we said, you might find political dissidents working there. In some countries, you can still lose your freedom or life for criticizing a leader or ruler. How does it work? How do people get this anonymity they require? Well, the darknet both incorporates encryption and also uses special privacy browsers. The best known is Tor, which is sometimes called the Onion Router. It's a free software that directs traffic through a massive network consisting of thousands of relays. These servers are run by volunteers. Here's an explanation by the Tor project. Tor's users employ this network by connecting through a series of virtual tunnels rather than making a direct connection, thus allowing both organizations and individuals to share information over public networks without compromising their privacy. We're told that the Tor network was created by the U.S. Navy and is still partly funded by the U.S. government. People can publish websites that can't be tracked. Tor tells us that while many people might think chat rooms are just full of rather strange people talking about eating each other or making a poodle burger, many people go to hidden chat rooms to discuss privately how they survived abuse, or perhaps talk about an illness they have that they're afraid could be found out in chat rooms outside of private browsing. This is a good thing, of course, because why shouldn't people at times have a bit of privacy? You might remember probably the most infamous site, the Silk Road, a marketplace where you could buy many things that you won't be seeing sold in the local shopping mall. But some of these items were just regular things. More recently, Alphabay and Hansa were also closed, but these sites were run as hidden services or onion services on the Tor network. But this show isn't about what we find on the dark web. It's more of a how-to show to tell you how to access the dark web. It actually isn't hard at all. So first, get yourself a virtual private network or VPN if you're intending to get on the dark web. This is easy. Just Google VPNs. Even our sponsor Dashlane has a VPN. Some are free. Some of them cost a small amount of money. You don't need a VPN, but if you want to get extra secure, get one. Even
on the dark web, while mostly illegal, can have some positive uses. If you're in a place where they aren't sold, you could purchase them there. While the FBI, governments, and much of the public believed Silk Road had vastly negative effects on the world, Ross Ulbricht thought otherwise. He believed he was doing the world a service. Rather than the violence that can result from the trading and dealing of illegal drugs, Silk Road provided a safer, more genuine experience, which brought opportunity to the masses, and protected people as opposed to putting them at risk. But despite this, despite his apparent peaceful and non-harming nature, he was one who actually used these hitman services on the dark web in attempts to have 6 different people killed. It all depends on how you view it, and how open you are to interpretations. The dark web doesn't have to be a terrible place. It's only scary if you go looking for things that you don't want to see. You can't necessarily get rid of them, but you can avoid them. There are some things that the average person just shouldn't see. And if you don't want to fall victim to this, I'd stay away from the dark web. Whether or not you believe it's as bad as it's made out to be, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, you probably don't know what you're getting into. And once you're in, you aren't leaving.